good note, had a very good month. And if and we're on a good roll. And if we just stop for a second and look back, um, this month we ended and have shipped so far this year 200,000 orders. That seems like a big number. If we just go back in time a little bit, the most we would ship ever is 100,000. So we shipped twice as much as we used to ship. In 2019, we shipped 123,000. Last year, we shipped 180,000. This year, we've already shipped 200,000. That's you guys. And to ship an order, let's make sure we know what that means. We have to take the order. We have to put up all the marketing that it takes. We have to create a catalog, create all the marketing behind it, emails, SMS messages, put all the thought into making that actually created, send it out, hit all these people. Hundreds of thousands of people receive this stuff. They decide, oh, I want to order that. They take the order. Our call center will receive the order. We have to order the inventory. The inventory has to come in. It has to be put up right. We have to print the orders in the call center, bring them out correctly. It has to be picked right. It has to be packed right. It has to be shipped right. All that taking place. Every single person in this room to make those 200. We've doubled the number of orders we've done, essentially with not that too many more people. And just for that, I want everybody a round of applause for the company that's growing. We've been growing rapidly the last 3 years, and this year we've already beat last year. So when we look at what the future holds, it's really clear. It's really clear that it's so uncertain. Right? we've been in uncertain times for the last 2 years, and the only thing that's certain is that it's going to be uncertain. I mean, I don't know what next year is going to look like. I have no idea, and neither does anybody in this room. And that makes it hard to buy. That makes it hard to buy inventory. That makes it hard to plan marketing. How many people are you going to reach out to? How much money are you going to spend on marketing to people in an uncertain environment? And the way we're going to go about it is we're going to go about it as if we're going to grow. That's the way we're going to go about it. And if that's not true, if it changes, we'll have to react to that. But that's the decision that our team has sort of made when we're looking at our individual goals and you add them up as we're doing that process right now. That's the way we're going to go about it. And I think that's the right way to go. I don't know for sure, but I think that's the right way to go. And we've been in uncertain, and we've decided to go big or go home, and we went big and it worked out. And I think that's the way we should go going forward. So it's really, really hard to go from being bad in something to being good in something. It's hard to do that. It's actually more hard. It's actually harder. I think that's the right word. It's harder to go from being good to being great. And that's not for me. That was a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. He's one of the most prolific business writers in the last 25 years. Put out some great stuff. But it's true. It's really hard to go from good to great. And why is that? When you're bad, you kind of know it. People around you know it. It doesn't feel good. You want to do something about that. And you start looking around, how can I get out of this thing of being bad? But when you're good at something, it's like, well, hey, I'm pretty good. I don't have to change that much. I don't have to adjust things. I don't have to look at ways of getting better because I'm pretty good. And that's why most companies don't become great. But I think we have an opportunity to go from a good company to a great company. We're making progress. We have setbacks from time to time. But another reason why it's hard to go from good to great is because you can always kind of, if you're trying to go to great, and you can always look back and go, well, we could go back to that. We can go back to that if we want. And I'll give you a little story. So Cortez is a famous name as an explorer, conqueror, but he was born in a small town in Spain, and during that time, he was not from a prominent family. There's really no way to as a young Spaniard. So he moves over to what is now Dominican Republic, Haiti, and he moves over there in 1504, and he works for a governor. He's a notary, and then he goes on an excursion and leads a takeover of Cuba. Pretty brutal back then. Back then, the Spaniards were coming over to North America and Central America with guns and cannons and ships and steel swords, and they were brutally slaying the natives, which were mostly Indians, and it was brutal. It was worse than most of what happened in North America was happening in Central America. And so they wanted gold, and they wanted to take over, and they weren't negotiating; they were just killing, and that was what was going on. So he does a good job of taking over or being a part of taking over Cuba, and then the governor says, "Okay, I'm going to send you over. I want you to take over Mexico." And he sends literally. I mean, these guys have guns and cannons and ships and horses, and they're fighting natives they're pretty good fighters, but they're using bow and arrows and bones at the end of the arrow and rocks at the end. It's no match for a gun, no match for a cannon. And with 600 dudes, 13 horses, cannons, and guns, they take some ships over to what is now Veracruz from the Dominican Republic to take over all of Mexico with these 600 dudes. And they just start slaughtering people, but it's hard work. And the team there is like, we don't want to do this. We might get killed. We don't really want to do this. So they kind of like semi-mutiny against Cortez. So Cortez says, screw that. He goes over and he lights all the ships on fire, burns them so they can't go back. Burns them so they can't go back. Now you got one choice. Now you're all in, right? You have to be all in, because you're not going to go wandering around amongst the Indians with your one gun. You're going to need to stay in. You're going to need to work as a group, and you're going to need to align. And that's a rough way to go about things. That's the same when people think the burning bridges come from, retreating and burning the bridge so they can't get across. No, many times in warfare, going back to ancient China, World War II, they burned the bridge as they crossed, knowing that the soldiers know they need to fight their way through to the other side. And that sort of changes the mindset. If you can get a mindset that says, hey, we can't go back, we have to get better. That's the only way we're going to get better, is to go back and is to burn the bridge of the past and go forward to the future, because that's the only place there is. Because you think that's there, it's really not. It's really not there. And so that's an interesting way to look at it. That's kind of where we are. We've gone from being bad to good, and we need to get to great. And we might have to burn a few bridges or burn some ships. We'll talk about that with Vince and Beth later. I'm not being literal. But there is that sort of mindset that has to flip to get to the next level that we need to do. And I truly respect Native Americans. I actually lived in South Dakota, went to high school in South Dakota. They have a beautiful way of thinking about things, and one of their ways of thinking, the thing that I learned is two wolves. And basically all of us, this saying goes, all of us has two wolves inside of us that are pulling at each other, they're fighting. These wolves are fighting all the time. And one wolf is sort of boastful and selfish, doesn't want to help people, and is just focused on themselves, is gossipy, all those things. That's one wolf. And the other wolf is helping people and kind and humble, and they're both fighting. We go through the fight, each one of us in this room right now, has two wolves inside of them. And the question is, which one wins? Who wins? The one that wins is the one that you feed. That's the one that wins. And so we have that going on inside of us all the time. That's an interesting concept. It's an ancient Indian concept that I can turn to from time to time. And which one am I feeding right now? That's a good question. I want to feed the good one, right? That's the one that we want to feed. So we're on a good path. We're going to have our Christmas party on next Friday. It's going to be a Marco Polo's where we used to go. That was literally the only place that has the labor to help us have this party. So we're glad to have that. We may have Adam there. We're not sure. We hope to have Adam there. So that is happening. We need to sort of wrap up this holiday time and make sure that we get all of these orders out. Customers are really anxious for that. We also have, of course, the employee of the month. And this guy, I think the best way to describe the things that takes place in the call center, you're taking orders, you're trying to make customers happy, but you're also handling problems. And a lot of times you have technical problems. And so you're walking through a guy that's might be very, very smart, anybody's not happy about the way things are going, you have to walk them off that cliff. You're also walking people through things that probably bought something that they had not the skills to do. That's got to be very frustrating to try to walk them through. And I call this a very, very thankless job. And so the employee of the month this month the title of this, Thanking the Thankless. It's a thankless job, and we're thanking the thankless. The employee of the month this month is Dave. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
I do this for customers all day.
Well, I do it for everybody here as well, like anytime there's a problem or somebody needs help. You guys are my #1 customers that I care the most about. Getting everybody, online and fixing up whatever problems arise. So, I appreciate it.
That's why you're so good at what you do. Okay, so we have.
Just one more thing too about Christmas.
Yes.
The Christmas party, we're just gonna dress for. We're gonna do the ugly sweater on the 23rd. Okay, that'll be our. What are we doing? We're doing pictures for the Christmas. Oh, yes, dress. We're doing pictures for our Christmas, for our email Christmas card, the day of our party on the 17th. So if you wanna dress for that, that's nice. And then we're gonna do, the 23rd, I said, right?
Yes.
The 23rd, we're gonna do, ugly sweater.
Which I love that.
And you'll win something.
Yes, that is our, what was that, what I talked about last time, that is our review, right? That's like the review, instead of like present arms, we're wearing ugly sweaters.
We're ugly sweaters.
Whatever.
I think that 23 is today for the, ¿cómo se dice? Amigo secreto.
Oh, friend secret. Friend secret.
Secret Santa.
Oh, Secret Santa.
Yeah.
You're doing Secret Santa?
Yeah, I think
Everybody
$20
bring
or
one.
yeah.
Okay, I would love to do that again. Love to do that again. Put a dollar amount on it.
As long as I get to pick
$20.
the which gift I want from all of
Okay,
you.
and a gift that is for either male or female. Okay? Well, we're gonna do, you wanna just, we'll talk.
We'll talk. All right, we have pizza for everybody from